Is the US really in decline? Americans are more negative on the long-term outlook for the US than at any point in the last 30 years. But that pessimism simply does not reflect reality. That said, our future is in jeopardy, and the biggest risks come from within. To kick off my two-part series on the US economy, in this video, I'll show you the 4 reasons why the US is most definitely not in decline, and it's actually gaining strength, contrary to popular belief. A recent poll showed that nearly 80% of Americans think their kids could end up with worse lives than they have. That's the most negative people have ever been since they started tracking it in 1990. The problem stems from the fact that traditional media, social media, and politicians are all rewarded for spreading fear and negativity. Now people are worried about inflation, the economy, the job market, rising national debt, inequality, the loss of manufacturing jobs. The list of concerns has gotten so long that many Americans have lost all hope of things getting better. Fortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth. So without further ado, here are 4 reasons why the US economy is thriving. The first reason the US is stronger than you think is its economy. The US makes up about 1/4 of the global economy. That share has actually grown over the last 10 years, and it's almost identical to where it was in 1980. China and other emerging markets have risen, but the US has not declined. Against the other rich established economies of the G7, the US has vastly outperformed all of them, going from 40% of the group's GDP in 1990 to 57% today. The second reason the US is stronger than you think is the wealth of its people. Only a few countries are as rich as the US, and no other large country can compete. Even Mississippi, which is the poorest state in the US, has a higher average income than France. Incomes have also grown faster than other rich countries, so the gap has been widening. And before you say all those gains have gone to the rich people and Europe is better because it has such generous welfare, wage growth has been the fastest for low-income workers over the past 3 years, and social spending has come a long way toward catching up with Europe. The US has a younger population, higher birth rate, looser immigration policy, and laws that make it easier to start and run businesses than most other rich countries, all of which are likely to help it continue expanding its lead. That brings us to the third reason that the US is stronger than you think: innovation. US firms own more than 20% of the world's global patents, which is way more than any other country, and it's not likely to lose its lead anytime soon, because the world's 5 largest companies in terms of spending on research and development are all based in the US. Personal computers, smartphones, GPS, and the internet were all invented in the US, and recent innovations like ChatGPT and Apple Vision Pro could be the next big thing. Over the last 30 years, the US stock market has grown more than 3x as much as emerging markets and more than 4x as much as other developed markets. And that gap has widened over the past 10 years because US dynamism is alive and well. A big source of that dynamism comes from the 4th reason that the US is stronger than you think: education. The US spends far more on education than most other countries, and 11 of the top 15 universities in the world are in the US. Sure, college isn't free for everyone, but you get what you pay for, and it is free for anyone who studies hard and gets good grades, or comes from a low-income family. In the good old USA, anyone can study hard, work hard, and build a better future for themselves with essentially no limits to how high they can go. Not everyone will put in the same amount of effort, so not everyone will achieve the same outcome, and inequality is inevitable. But no other country offers the level of upward mobility that the US does. When you bring it all together, it baffles me that most Americans don't realize or appreciate this. But the US is actually the richest, most productive, and most innovative large country in the world. Not only is it not in decline, but its lead has actually widened in many areas, and future generations will have it even better than we do. So the extreme pessimism among Americans is simply not justified. Actually, not only is it not justified, I think it could be our downfall, which is what I'll discuss in part 2 of this series. Wise people long before me have said dwelling on the negative simply contributes to its power, and I think that applies to the US here. False negativity leads to bad government policies, polarized politics, and a divided nation. This toxic combination could ultimately be our downfall. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for part 2.